Welcome back, and it's time to take you through our auto segment, bringing you a detailed review on the facelifted 2025 Audi Q7. We go through what is new on the outside, the features and what have been added, and the driving experiences. Priced at 97.81 lakh for the top technology variant, Audi Q7 out on the roads now, and here's a glimpse.
Now the Audi Q7 has been one of the brand's defining models in India, but this generation has been around a while, enough for it to get its second facelift. So what do you get with it, and is this SUV still relevant? Let's find out. With this new update, the Audi Q7 has been brought in line with the brand's new design themes. So the grille has more chrome around the edges and the vertical studs. You also have more open venting in the bumpers with more aggressive patterns. The new 2D logo makes an appearance here, while the Matrix LED headlamps have new detailing in them. The long, flat Q7 profile is still distinct, especially since there are no major changes here aside from new color options and alloy wheel designs. Similarly, at the rear you have new lighting elements and bumper designs. The Q7, for an SUV that's been around since 2017, still looks fairly contemporary despite rivals moving on, and has that presence on the road that made it so popular in India to begin with. Now with the long length of the Audi Q7, what you get is a really useful boot space. As you just saw, this cover folds up with the bootlet, so you have a better access to the whole boot space, which is 740 litres, and even with the third row up, which are powered by the way, you still have 295 litres. So even if you're carrying 7 people, you can still carry a good load of luggage. As you can see, this lip is flat, and then I can lower it further too with the air suspension. The car will lower itself. Now again, that makes putting things easier still, and then you also have this separator kind of arrangement. Now what this does is, it just makes sure your things don't flop around when you're driving. So yeah, it's a neat touch to have as well. Now, as is true for most Audis, this Q7 too still feels contemporary, even though it's not the most up-to-date or modern looking space anymore. And you have that sense from the simplicity and the quite directness of the general design of the Q7. For example, you have some neat flat surfaces. Yes, maybe the amount of gloss black used is a bit too much, but it's all well done and built to a high standard. For example, the way these vents work, or just how tactile, say, some of these buttons are, they really do the job well. And then the new bits that have been added, for example, this wood trim and the upholstery, they do a little bit to enhance the space. Having said that, there are some things that really do stand out. For example, some of the plastics, say around here and in the door cards and so on, they could have been of a better grade. You don't expect that in a big 3-row luxury SUV anymore. And these screens, while they are perfectly alright, they do seem a bit outdated now compared to what the competition gives you. Having said that, the 3-screen layout with the separate panel for the climate controls feels easier to use on the move than a more modern single screen setup. You have large buttons for the temperature and fan speeds and haptic feedback. The main touchscreen is responsive enough, and the digital instrumentation continues to be one of the easier ones to get used to. The central bin is a bit too shallow, but you have enough chargers and storage spaces in the door pockets, although ventilated seats are missing. Now with the second row of the Q7, the first thing that strikes you is the kind of adjustment and flexibility that's on offer. You effectively have 3 separate seats here, each of them with their own contouring and support. So all the 3 passengers can sort of decide how they want to sit. And it's also wide enough, I feel, to accommodate 3 people together, which is great. Yeah, there is this hump, but I think you can get around that pretty easily. But what you can actually do is slide each of these forward and back like this. And even when it's fully forward, as you can see, I have a decent amount of knee room and leg room. These seats are pretty high up, so that's not a problem. And headroom is not bad either. I have this much, I'm about 5'7", and I still have this much, so that's okay. But what's also nice is the kind of recline angle that's on offer. So you can get into a very comfortable seating position here. And then of course there are amenities. Yeah, they're not absolutely at the top end of what you can expect, but it's still good. For example, I have these sunshades, these vents right on the pillar, which is always nice. My own 4-zone climate control, this small armrest here with my own cup holders, some Type-C charge ports, and this big door pocket. The Q7 largely carries over the same features as the last model, which means that it is slightly lacking in this regard. While passive safety is good, ADAS features are still some way behind current expectations. Now, calling the Q7 a 7-seater is a bit of a stretch. It's a 5+2, I must say. So while getting in is quite easy, I can just do this and I have a nice wide space to get myself in. That's not too difficult. If you're taller, yes, it's quite a crouch, and these seats power fold up like you just saw. And once I'm inside, as you can see, space is okay. I mean, I have just about enough space to put for my knees. Yeah, the usual third row kind of situation is here where I don't have much thigh support at all. But I must say the backrest is not too bad. I have good support, and these headrests also do their job pretty well.
All right, with that, it's a wrap on today's edition of The Breakfast Club. Let us know what you liked, what you didn't, what you want more of. Clearly, on the work-life balance, the health and wealth balance, we'll be speaking on all those issues through the week. Until then, bye-bye.